85% referral rate, an incredible Posts and Results team staff, and most important, communication, because you and your home matter. The Posts and Results team. When buying and selling really mattered, go to TucsonHomeValues.com. That's TucsonHomeValues with an S.com.
Wildcat fans, don't miss your last chance to catch your Arizona football team in action as they take on the Utah Utes Saturday, November 18th. We will be honoring our military personnel on Military Appreciation Day. It's also your last opportunity to watch your Wildcat seniors play in Arizona Stadium. Join us for all the excitement by calling the ticket office today at 520-621-CATS or by visiting ArizonaWildcats.com/FB. Bear down, Tucson.
And we're back with the action. Coke Zero Sugar might be the best Coke ever.
That's right, Jim. With an irresistible taste and zero sugar, Coke Zero Sugar is a must-try for any sports fan. So make sure you... Wait, Jim, I didn't mean try it right now. We're still on the air.
Best Coke ever? Take a taste, Jen.
Really?
No, not right now, Jen. We got a game to call.
Good news, everybody.
We stay on the air with you for an extra 2 hours after every Arizona football and men's basketball game all season long. That's why we are the home of the Wildcats. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station.
The Wildcats Radio 1290 studios are brought to you by Casino del Sol, Soul Sports, Bet Easy, Win Big, Bet Local. We are your home of Arizona athletics. This is Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
From the what? Central Northwest Tucson. Duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but 3 first names, David Scott Kelly.
Inside, Krivas, pump fake again. Lay it up, missed no good. There's Keishad with the rebound, missed the follow, and Borovichin chases it down. To Boswell for 3. Bang! There's 3 more for Kylan Boswell, his 3rd Lexus of Tucson Charity 3 here tonight.
Bang! What's the guy on ABC, the announcer with the Knicks?
Oh.
He says that.
Yes,
Bang!
all the time. I can't think of his name.
Yeah. I should know this. I'm a play-by-play guy.
Sure.
Kylan Boswell.
Is it Breen?
Mike Breen. Thank you. Mike Breen. Yes. 18 points for Kylan Boswell. 122 points for the Arizona Wildcats in their season opening win over Morgan State. The most points scored in this century by an Arizona men's basketball team. It's a great way to start the 2022 or 2023-24 men's college basketball season. A big win at home, and now the Wildcats are getting set to head out on the road down to Durham, North Carolina, to take on the Duke Blue Devils at Cameron Indoor Stadium. There are 2 historic sports venues that I've walked through when there hasn't been a game going on. Cameron Indoor Stadium was one of them. Fenway Park is the other one. I walked through when I moved in 1995. I relocated from California to North Carolina to take a minor league baseball job in AA. And I drove and I stopped. I'd never really been to North Carolina. I don't think I'd ever been to North Carolina at that point when I was moving there. And so I stopped in Raleigh-Durham and kind of went and saw all 3 campuses, went to North Carolina, walked around at UNC, hopped over to NC State and walked around there. And then I went over to Duke, and I said, well, let me park and at least walk up to Cameron Indoor Stadium. This would have been during the season. It would have been in February.
Yeah.
That I moved to February of 1995 that I moved to North Carolina. And so I figured I'll just walk up. I think I had, small. I probably was still using my disc camera back in the day at the time in 1995, and said I'll take some pictures of it, whatnot, and just walked up and kind of pulled on one of the doors and it opened.
Nice.
So I said, okay, well, let me walk in and see how far I can get before somebody kicks me out. And I walked in and walked right out to the floor. There was nobody in there. It was wide open. Nobody was there. I just walked right out to the floor.
Can't hurt to try, right?
Exactly. Why not? Why not give it a shot? So I had a chance to walk in and take some pictures at Cameron Indoor Stadium before finishing my trek over to the coast. I was moving to Wilmington, North Carolina, Wrightsville Beach, which is right over on the Atlantic coast. I think it's about maybe an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes from Raleigh, Durham. And that started the North Carolina chapter of my life, which lasted about a year and a half.
And was it a good chapter?
It was decent. It was good. I did some AA baseball down there. It was a temporary team that was playing at the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. So we didn't have the best facility for minor league baseball, but it was fun being at that level. I could give you the names of the largest name of kids that came through there was Jason Varitek,
right?
The Hall of Fame, likely to be soon Hall of Fame catcher for the Boston Red Sox, came through there. We had Trey Griffey that played football here for the University of Arizona. His uncle, Ken Griffey Jr.'s brother, Craig, was on our team for a couple of years. So I had a chance to meet the Griffey family.
Man.
That was the first time I had a chance to really meet the Griffey family.
That dude got the short end of the stick. You got Ken Griffey Jr.,
as your
the
brother.
son of one of the greatest baseball players of all time. Comes up, 18 when he made his debut? A Hall of Fame career. And then there's Craig.
Yeah, Craig was a nice guy, but could not hit above 200.
Yeah.
Could not hit above. Was kind of fast, so good defensive player, but just didn't have the bat. And I think AA was as far as he got in professional baseball.
So Duke Blue Devils have lost one non-conference home game in the last 23 years.
Wow.
They had a 150-game home court win. Now, that being said, we know Alabama schedules their football, their non-conference preseason football that got a lot of cupcakes, patsies. I'm not going to put that at Duke's feet that's what they do every single time. There's St. John's came through with a couple of good teams. But most of those wins, DK, were not against top-flight schools. But, yeah, they lost to Stephen F. Austin 85-83 in 2019, and that broke a 150-game home court non-conference.
So this was recently that happened. Okay.
2019 is when they lost to Stephen F. Austin at home. Before that, they had a 150-game. The previous loss they had was in 2000, February 26, 2000.
Wow. Yeah, it's a tough place to win. Tough place to win.
But last night's game was an indication, David Kelly. I mean, this Arizona team is so strong, loaded at all three levels. We talked a lot about that last night in the post game, and we'll talk about it more here. But I've never been more positive about an Arizona team going into a hostile environment like that than this year, because there's a lot of guys in this team that just don't know any better, right? There's a lot of guys, young guys from overseas maybe, who don't maybe know the mystery and mystique of that building. So I really like the chances.
It's interesting you say that, because that's one of the things that I asked this question to a lot of the foreign players a couple of years ago prior to the NCAA tournament in San Diego, about not growing up with American college basketball.
Yeah.
And whether or not, and what effect that might have on them. Because again, you grew up in this country and then you get a chance to play college basketball. I mean, you've grown up watching the NCAA tournament and skipping school
you
from that
be
first
like Damon
Thursday.
Stoudemire was, right?
Yeah, right. But these kids, they didn't watch it like that.
No.
And so I've always kind of wondered, is that a good thing because they don't really get it? It's not anything that's going to be like overwhelming for them when they step on that floor? Or is it a bad thing because they don't necessarily understand the depth and the importance of what it means in this country, so they don't maybe take it at the same type of serious level that kids that grew up in the United States do? And so that's always something that I've kind of struggled with these international lineups that we've had here the last couple of years. And obviously, the first Tommy Lloyd team we can go back to the first Sean Miller team where we kind of started to see a little bit more of this infusion, and then they were on probation, so they never really got a chance to test themselves at that level. And then Tommy Lloyd's first team got to the Sweet 16, but, then ran in to the buzzsaw that was the Houston Cougars and got knocked out. And then last year's team just, got taken out by a scrappy Ivy League school.
Yeah, it was a tough matchup.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's rough because we talked about a lot about the fact that it's all club sports over there. There isn't an amateur athleticism involving high schools or colleges. It doesn't exist. And so I think you either love the sport and then you sign up for a club and then you make money, right? I mean, there's a lot of there's professional levels of play over there overseas. And a lot of times I think games like this, how do you explain the impact of a crazy, deep, and lore-filled rivalry with a school like the Duke Blue Devils to somebody who the last time that these guys played, or that was a Derek Williams game, I believe, was the last time they probably played in the tournament, but they've only played a total of, 12 or 13 times a career. I'd have to look it up, but it's not a lot of times. But those games, DK, have been so impactful on the landscape of college basketball. I think a lot of people know about the Arizona Duke, even going back to that championship game, obviously was a key pivotal moment, but it's tough. I mean, it's got to be tough. I think it's as simple as this game is very important. Go out and play your best. We got to win this game. I think that's all you got to teach.
Yeah, and obviously this is there's a lot of veterans on this Arizona Wildcats team. Caleb Love has been in that building. He's played in that building. Umar Ballo, Kashad Johnson, Pella Larson, they've played in big ball games and in big road venues before. Jaden Bradley has done that. And KJ Lewis, again, is a kid that grew up in the United States. He grew up loving Arizona, so he understands it from that side. I worry about the Motias Krivases and the Paulius Morauskas and maybe even the Philip Boryavicinas if they're going to go in there and get spooked by what this, and I hope, again, we talk so much about football, about preparation and how, what was it that Dick Tomey turned on the sprinklers to get ready for a game at Oregon.
Piping music and stuff,
piping in the music and all of that. But we don't necessarily hear a lot of that conversation around basketball.
You know what they do is they hold brooms.
If they were over at RJ last week and piping in the Cameron crazy,
right.
If they even think along those mindsets.
I think it's more like we got Wembanyama on the schedule. Let's get some brooms out and simulate some length here. But yeah, no, I think the key though is what you just said is that the ideal college basketball team is a great mixture of veterans who are in their junior, senior years, who have been around the block. They understand what it's all about, along with some youthful exuberance, like guys who just, don't know better, but are just full of energy and ready to get out there and play at 120%, all that stuff. I think this team clearly has the best of both worlds. They have such great team leadership. I love what Keyshawn Johnson said at the postgame last night, just about how, he and Kylan and Caleb, they're all leaders. There's so many leaders on this team, and they all have a common goal, and it starts Friday.
Yeah. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290 is the number for you to get in on this program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. Again, dive in on the text groove and give us your thoughts. We'll give you our question of the day coming up. It is Arizona basketball related. We are streaming video on Facebook Live, on Twitch, and on YouTube at WildcatsRadio1290.com.
Before we get to our lovely third member of our crew, can we just give a shout out to the Arizona football team for being ranked for the first time?
Yes.
We haven't really talked about that because we had basketball pregame yesterday.
23rd in the nation in the AP poll, 24th in the nation in the college, the coaches poll. And I believe, I don't know the exact time that we will get the college football playoff rankings today. I believe now that we're back on 2 hours, I want to say it's maybe around 6 o'clock Eastern. So we'll have that coming up in the show. So we will give that to you as soon as we have that information as well to find out if the Wildcats are ranked in the college football playoff poll as well. But extremely. And we're gonna pass out some game balls in our segment and Wildcat Breakdown coming up later. And I think I might have to give a game ball to Jed Fish for the incredible job that he has done in building this program back from the ashes that was a 20-game losing streak and 1-11 just 2 years ago. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Cricket joins us now, and Cricket, we have gotten past Halloween.
We have.
Yes. And we are on the verge of Thanksgiving. But, of course, I walked into Walgreens the other day, and I've already started seeing Christmas cards up on the shelves. Where are you on the front loading of the holiday? I call it the holiday after next holiday.
Right.
The front loading of that stuff already in our mindset here.
Well, on Halloween, just to be sure I had enough candy, on Halloween, I stopped at the store at Walmart to get more candy. The Halloween candy was gone.
It was gone.
And it was the candy canes and the Christmas baking kits and Christmas tree Reese's. Like Halloween hadn't even happened yet. And all the Halloween stuff had been moved or it was gone, and all the Christmas stuff was up.
Hey, some people just have a tree up in their house year round.
Right.
Well, yeah, that were you talking about me?
Oh, I was.
Oh, do you? Do you?
We do. We keep our tree up year round. Yes, we do that.
But it's not a Christmas tree year round.
Yeah, it's not a Christmas tree year round.
You do that?
Yeah, we do that. Yes.
Oh, that's so cool.
So right now it's the fall tree. It's got the orange lights. We have kind of orange lights that kind of are both Halloween and Thanksgiving.
That's
and then
cool.
we'll kind of change out some of the things. We'll put some scary stuff on during the Halloween season, and now we'll bring out some of the turkey type ornaments and things that we can put on there as well.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Like, do you decorate it for 4th of July?
We do. So we essentially, so after Christmas, we go, we have, I think we go direct. We used to do Valentine's Day. I don't think we've done. Yeah, we still do. We have pink lights for Valentine's Day. So we do Valentine's Day, and then we have purple and green lights for Mardi Gras.
Oh,
so
cool.
we'll do Mardi Gras, and then we'll go from Mardi Gras to Easter. We have some Easter and some egg lights and that kind of thing.
That's cool.
And then we pretty much go from Easter to the 4th of July. And there's really not much in between that.
As soon as the clock strikes midnight on Halloween, the candy canes get put up.
Well, I know where you can get some.
No, I'm not ready for the candy. I never really liked candy canes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not my kind of flavor, that kind of whole thing there. But yeah. Yeah, so no, we're still in the fall mode. We haven't gotten to the Christmas part of it yet. So, like, in terms of, like, since we're on Christmas, I don't want to go there yet. I just
Not
cannot
yet.
go to a Christmas question just yet. We'll wait a few weeks before we get to that the Christmas thing. So, do you have up decorations yet for? I mean, do you do Thanksgiving decorations or anything like that, or no?
Not really.
No.
No.
Okay. So I didn't know if you put like a turkey thing on your door or something like that, or no.
It might be kind of fun.
Yeah, you should try that.
Maybe.
Should we put that on the list?
Another thing on the list.
It's getting long.
Getting
It's a long list.
long. You know what's long? The lines out there of cars trying to get home. And here's Cricket to make sure you get there safely.
And from the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together. Near Grant and Alvernon, little police activity there and some slowing near Grant Road and Alvernon. Collision on Glen, east of Country Club. Aviation Parkway and Broadway Boulevard, traffic signals malfunctioning. Also some slowdowns for traffic on Grant Road at Wilmot and Sabino Canyon, north of Tanca Verde. 54 the low and clear overnight, 80 and sunny tomorrow, now breezy and 91. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
reversal after the extra possession created by the offensive rebound.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Lots in store for you on this show today. We are going to chat with one of the latest members of the U of A Sports Hall of Fame, Dave Rubio, volleyball coach for a long time here at the University of Arizona, is going to join us in the 4 o'clock hour. We'll also have our weekly visit with the athletics director at the University of Arizona, Dave Hickey, get his assessment of this past homecoming weekend. Glenn Howe will join us in the 5 o'clock hour for Wildcat Breakdown. And right now, we are going to hear from the head coach of the Arizona men's basketball team, Tommy Lloyd, after his team went out and totally annihilated Morgan State, 122-59. And it was, you heard Umar Ballo there, finishing the game with 12 points and 6 rebounds. We played some of this for you last night on the post-game show on the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day post-game show. So we're going to pick up where we left off with Tommy Lloyd's press conference from last night.
Where you had Pella, I think KJ maybe even guarding the 4 out there. Do you expect to go with that kind of smaller, a little bit smaller lineup a lot, or will it depend on the matchups? Or?
Well, with Henry's injury, it's kind of tilted things in that direction. But it's a style that we've been really comfortable playing. We've done it the last 2 years. It just people forget about it, and we've probably done it a lot more than people realize. So it's something we're really comfortable doing, and we kind of have our plan when we do it, and I think our guys, we kind of installed it, maybe a week or 2 ago, so it's kind of fresh. So we're still learning, but I think it's got a lot of potential.
Your thoughts on Krivas' game tonight? You mentioned him a little bit early on, just overall general thoughts for him.
Good player. I mean, for a freshman, your first official game under the lights, he did well. I mean, I think there were some real positives, and I think there was a couple things he'll learn from. Just, ball strength, ball security, how different ways to finish in traffic and around the basket, which are hard, and our guys will figure out, do we need to throw him a bunch of, 5 or 6, low bounce passes off baseline drives, which are hard catches, but I think he caught most of them. He's got great hands, so he's got tremendous potential, and I just think as we kind of move forward in this season, the combination of him and Umar can be really powerful.
Are you the type of coach to say Friday's just another game, or are you saying, look, we're going to Duke?
Listen, it's Arizona versus Duke. I mean, I think that's enough said right there. I think, no matter what happens, hopefully you have 2 great teams that are going to have an epic early season battle. I think that'd be great for college basketball. But no matter what happens, I don't think there's going to be any postseason awards given out by what happens the November 10th. So, if you go and play well, it's a great opportunity to really build your resume. If you go and struggle, it's going to be an awesome learning opportunity that I'm sure you're going to be better for it.
With that coming up, that added any urgency tonight, both for you and the guys?
Not really. I mean, if you're not excited to play in your first game, in front of thousands of fans, I don't know what to tell you. So, these are, anytime we play in McHale against any opponent, we're going to be excited. And our guys love competing and playing. And, I don't think there was any look ahead or anything like that.
Like a lot different focus than, the other night when you're playing that final exhibition.
Yeah, we got to get better. You get better over the course of a season. And, and you need learning and teaching opportunities to help the guys realize that. We are also trying to establish the standards we want our program to be known by, and so that was more my focus and the team's focus than anything else.
Do you have to tell Caleb anything about going back to such a big? Are you worried about it because he's an older guy?
I'm not worried about it. I think Caleb's pretty tough and tough-minded. Obviously I know it's gonna probably draw a lot of attention, but he's built for it. And I just know this. We can go there and play a good basketball game without Caleb playing out of his mind. Caleb can. That's one of the gifts I've tried to give him is you don't necessarily need to just blend in here, but you have an opportunity to settle in and let the game come to you a little bit. And I think he'll get more and more comfortable over that. And every time he's put our uniform on against another team, I think he's played really good and he's been a great teammate.
Rely on players like him to help maybe informally help with the scout, or at least talk to the guys about what it's like to go to a place like that?
I mean, I'm sure those guys will have those conversations on their own, but I don't really put a bunch of pressure on them to get up and present the scouting report. I mean, that's why we have a lot of guys in our coaching staff. So that's their job, and he might be able to. Maybe we will always listen to our guys. I mean, if they tell us something in a game, or I've played against this guy. I mean, I think that's out of respect for our players. We always listen to what they have to say.
When this game came up originally, did you say let's just do it, or did you initiate it? How did this come?
Yeah, I mean, I called John when he got the job, and I just thought it would be a great idea for both of us to play a game like this. And scheduling in college basketball is getting harder and harder for whatever reason. So anytime you get an opportunity to get two programs of an Arizona and a Duke stature to meet on the other's court, I mean, I think it's pretty cool. So especially in out of conference. So I respect John as a person and as a coach, and I'm thankful that he agreed to do this, and he and I think share a mutual respect for each other, and we don't talk every day, but we definitely touch base over the course of the season, and we see each other out recruiting and things of that. So I mean, I'm honored that they're giving us this opportunity.
You guys go back a ways as assistants. Like, did you see him on the recruiting trail?
Well, man, he's so much younger than me. I mean, I think I was on the bench in a game in Madison Square Garden. I think they beat us pretty good. And then you're as coaches, we're probably around each other a lot more than people realize, on the road, and just gotten to know him over the years doing that. I respect him. I mean, that's what he stepped into is pretty impressive at a young age. And I think he's doing an admirable job, and I think he's going to have a great coaching career.
Did that work out right away, or did he say, hey, everyone's calling me, Tommy, I got to think about it?
I mean, I can't, Bruce. I'd have to go through my call logs and let you know. But I think it was pretty seamless. I mean, I think we had one or two conversations and kind of handed off to the guys on our staff that handle that scheduling piece, and it was pretty. It was an easy process. I wish they were all like that.
How difficult is it to get a highly ranked team to agree to a home and home?
Yeah, I mean, a lot more difficult than people realize. I know that you always hear that. People and fans of college basketball, saying like, "Oh, we need these." It's hard. It's really hard, and it's become a big business. And you have coaches, protecting their own entity, coaches fighting for their jobs, things like that really complicated. And so for me, I love opportunities to play other good teams, but we also have to be mindful how we schedule. I mean, yeah, for sure. Do I sit back and think? Maybe our schedule is really hard this year, and I hope we're up for the challenge, and I hope there's a positive outcome for us at the end of having such a tough schedule. But you're also mindful that you're going to put your team in harm's way a few times, and and you're worried about your confidence and your winning spirit. You want to make sure you have that going into conference play. So we're just going to take it day by day.
Can you confirm that Dylan is going to be redshirting this year?
Yeah, that's been the conversation. I mean, as of now, unless something changes, an injury or something dictates that. But what I'll say is Dylan Anderson's a great young man, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. And it was Dylan's decision, and I told him, I just said, hey, this could potentially be an option. I want you to consider it. Like you think about it, and here's, he and I had some few conversations about it, and TJ really helped as well, and to me, I just remember we had a meeting in my office, and he came in and he sat down, and he said, Coach, I don't ever want to leave Arizona, and I said, Dylan, I don't ever want you to leave either, and so I think we, there's a love for each other and a respect for each other, and sometimes how these rosters break out, it's it's tough when you can only play 5 guys at a time, but Dylan's ready to play. He's made progress, but I think adding this year to the end of his career is going to allow him to become a great player at Arizona, and he's someone that I think this guy has, all conference type potential down the road, and so I'm really proud of him for trusting us, and I'm honored that he's trusting us enough to be patient.
Can you look at someone like Umar and how he used that And I think you had mentioned at one point that like Shemek having to sit out that year benefited both him and the program.
Yeah, I mean, listen, redshirting's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. And it really is a good thing, and it's helped so many guys over the course of their career. We had a little team deal yesterday where we were kind of just talking as a group, and Umar mentioned that. Umar said, "Dylan, I'm so proud of you and what you're doing. You're going to be great someday. You just got to hang with it. I've been there. I know how tough it is." So it was pretty special that our players, acknowledge and realize the sacrifice Dylan's making for the program. And I'm going to make sure that we do everything on our end to honor and respect that sacrifice he's making and make sure he really benefits from it down the road.
I guess going a day early, I think, for this trip, do you like to go when it's an East Coast game like that, get out there?
It's just kind of how the schedule broke. I saw an opportunity to get out there a little bit early, and so, I thought we might as well take advantage of that. So it really, I didn't overthink it. I hope it works out.
Was Conrad thought about it all for redshirt, or do you want to get some experience?
Sometimes international players is a little bit different in how you might handle that, but Conrad's a good basketball player. I mean, he's a really good basketball player. He has helped us so much in practice, and I don't know if people are seeing him out there and really have an understanding and respect for how good of a player he is. But he's a really good basketball player who is going to have a lot of great moments at Arizona. And I have 100% belief I could put him in a tough game, maybe if we're struggling and need a little spark, and he could come in that game and make that play. He's fearless. So I love having him out there. And, I just thought, you know what, I don't want to leave this team one player short, one spark short. And so he and I talked about it, and he's an unbelievable team person. So he had no problem saying, "Coach, whatever you want me to do, I'll do whatever I need to do for the program."
All right, that is the head coach of your Arizona Wildcats, Tommy Lloyd. Interesting comments there on conversation or something that Umar Ballo said in relation to Dylan Anderson, the sophomore big man who we've been talking about, and what his role might be with this team. And Dylan is going to be redshirting. At least that's the plan at the moment. Plans change depending on injuries that could occur. But again, I mean, you can just look down. We live in a society of immediate gratification.
Yeah.
When it comes to athletics, but you can look up and down. I mean, you can point to. Let's just point to T.J. McConnell,
sure,
who redshirted when he came over here, and is now is on his 9th year in the NBA.
Coach,
and you can look at Umar Ballo. I mean, there's a laundry list of guys who have transferred, had to sit out, and have gone on to great things.
Coach said redshirting is a good thing.
Yeah.
And Ballo, obviously, up there in Gonzaga, he had that experience. Anderson, Coach says, will be in all conference. The guy I think about is Judd Bushler, because he sat for 3 years behind the great Sean Elliott, and then as a senior was, the starter. I believe he's all conference that year, and then went on to a 12-year NBA career. So patience, your time will come. Just keep working at it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, well, it's funny. We're a little bit later. We'll talk about the 25 under 25 in the NBA, and I think everybody feels like they've got to be there right away to have a successful career, and it's just not the case. It's not the case. We can look at so many guys that you feel like if they'd have just stayed and developed, it might have ended up better for them than it did. Than messing around the G League and for half your life, for having to go overseas if you just maybe stayed and played another year or two in college.
I just think bottom line is it's really toxic for your brain to compare yourself to other people. And I'm 21. I'm not where this guy's where he's 19 or 21, as opposed to I'm where I'm at. I'm working hard. This is my goal. I'll get there. And that's where that comes from, is that idea of self-defeatist. And it's just no good. You just got to keep at the grind, keep working at it, and it'll come.
All right, DK on the sports tip. We'll take a break here. Make sure we get you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and weather. Our question of the day is coming up. Get your thinking caps on. It's an over-under question for you. Here is cricket.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Glen east of Country Club with a collision clearing. Slowdowns westbound Ajo at Mission, southbound La Cholla at Ajo Way, Grant and Wilmot. Little bit of slowing. Sabino Canyon north of Tanca Verde. Grant Road and Alvernon, a little bit of earlier police activity and some slowing on northbound Swan approaching Grant. And for our weather, 54 the low, clear tonight, 80, sunny tomorrow, now breezy and 91. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Mucinex 12-Hour DM.
Season 4 just launched. You up for a night of binging?
Yeah, I took Mucinex 12-Hour DM. Its bi-layer tablet takes care of my cough and chest congestion for a full 12 hours.
Cool, let's do this.
Buy Mucinex 12-Hour DM now for 12-hour cough and chest congestion relief. Use as directed.
Saturdays are made for football, and when the game is on, we're finally off. Off duty, offline, out of office. A cracked Coors Light is our do not disturb message to the world. On game day, we don't think about the 9 to 5, but worry about the 4th and 1. So this Saturday, grab a Coors Light, press play on some pigskin, and pause on everything else. Coors Light, mountain cold refreshments, made to chill. 2021 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
People who suffer from arthritis are getting real pain relief with exciting biologic therapies at QC Kinetics.
The success rate is there, and there's no better way to treat yourself when it comes to dealing with pain.
Meet Tyler Vale, co-founder of QC Kinetics, who says they can't cure arthritis, but they can treat the pain.
If you think of the tide coming in and out on the beach and what it does, it erodes the sand, right? Can't stop the
Which means it's a good game to choose.
Right. I guess I'll go Raiders.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
That was Rob on Thursday of last week in our Miller Lite Pigskin Challenge. And Rob joins us right now because he is a winner in the Miller Lite Pigskin Challenge, taking home a $75 gift certificate from Miller Lite because he correctly picked the Las Vegas Raiders, I should say, to beat the New York Giants. Congratulations, Rob. You had that game. 30-6 was the final.
Thanks.
Outstanding.
Pure luck.
What, the pure luck, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. And you said you were a Cardinals fan, right, Rob? Is that if I remember?
Well, I'm more of a Wildcats fan, but yeah, if I choose an NFL team, I'm pulling for the Cardinals.
All right. Well,
year.
I'm sorry about your Cardinals that my Browns had to put the whooping on them Sunday, but I enjoyed that.
I had to cut the end
It'll be
part
a good
off.
draft year.
I had to cut the end part off of that where Rob broke it down. He's like, well, Garoppolo's not playing and the quarterbacks aren't. He's actually had a good reason for calling it a terrible game, but the soundbite was good.
Yeah, indeed it was. And when you look at this game, I mean, Antonio Pierce, the U of A grad, now the interim coach for the Las Vegas Raiders, gets his first win of the season. Yeah, Daniel Jones got knocked out of that game. So Tommy DeVito was the quarterback. Any relation to Danny DeVito? Do we know? I don't know.
I mean, is he a 4'8" quarterback?
I would hope not. I would hope not. Have you ever been to a game in Las Vegas at the new stadium, Rob?
No, I have not.
Oh, have you? When's the last time you went to an NFL game?
I have never been to an NFL
You've
game.
never been to an NFL game. Wow. I wish we had tickets.
Can you get?
I wish cricket had tickets for Rob.
Can you get tickets to an NFL game for $75?
Yeah, you could probably.
Maybe Cardinals.
Well, yeah, the Cardinals. I would think you could. You might be able to get in this week. Bijan Robinson's coming back to town this Sunday.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I think you might be able to take that $75 and buy at least one ticket with that. Yeah, that would be interesting.
Pay for the gas to get there.
There you go. Well, Rob, congratulations. We will let you know when your pass or when your gift card is available for pickup. And, call again.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks, Rob. Bear down.
Rob is the winner in the Miller Lite Pigskin Challenge. We will pick another winner coming up this Thursday. Now, we're back to a little bit longer show with daylight savings time ending. So we will be going to 5:30 now on Thursdays as opposed to 4:30. So we will pick another Miller Lite Pigskin Challenge contestant on Thursday prior to the Thursday night game, which you'll hear right here between the Carolina Panthers and the Chicago Bears. That's two teams that are not having good seasons. And we'll pick a team. I'll pick the game. Can you pick the winner is the question.
And what if they don't pick correctly? Do they still get something?
They still get a prize pack courtesy of Miller Lite. And it's got all kinds of cool things in there. I think like, what do they call those things that you hold your beer with? Those things?
Koozies.
Koozies. Yeah, you got some koozies in there.
The first week we did this, the guy picked incorrectly, and he was so excited holding his Miller Lite prize bucket. It was
Exactly.
it was really funny.
A lot of good stuff in there. A lot of good stuff in there. So listen for the cue to call on Thursday to be a part of the Miller Lite Pigskin Challenge. We've got 3 NFL games coming up for you this week here on Wildcats Radio 1290. Sunday morning, once again, I think this is the final international game, the second game in Germany. It'll be the New England Patriots and the Indianapolis Colts. That'll be a 7 a.m. Start time, 7 a.m. broadcast time, 7:30 kickoff for that game you'll hear right here. And then Sunday night, this week, we go back. It's the Raiders again, the Las Vegas Raiders, and the New York Jets. So it'll be the second game for Antonio Pierce. Now, the Raiders won this game 30-6. Again, we mentioned Antonio Pierce, U of A football linebacker, is now the interim coach of the Raiders. And today, I believe it was yesterday, in his press conference, he was asked a question about practice squad players. And apparently the Raiders have never allowed practice squad players on the sidelines during games, which was weird to me because I think most NFL teams do that. Most NFL teams, at least at home games, allow their practice squad players to be on the sidelines during games. Apparently, the Raiders had never done this until this past Sunday in their win over the New York Giants, and Antonio Pierce was asked about that. Let's hear a little bit about what the head coach in Arizona Wildcat had to say.
Practice squad players on the sideline yesterday. If that is the case, why was that important for you to have them down there on the field?
They got a Raiders uniform. Them guys bust their tails. Last week was just 2 days. This week it'll be 3 days, and they're giving us looks both on offense, defense, special teams. They're working out in the morning. They're in the meetings. They're in everything about it. But then on game day, where are they? That wasn't my belief. I've been at other places, either as a coach when I was in high school or college. Every man's in, man. If you're on a team, you're a part of the team. You're there on game day, and I just felt the way that we practiced those 2 days and what we asked them to do, they deserved to be on our sideline. They earned that right. And I hope they don't stay on practice squad. I hope they push themselves to become on the active roster. And that was the carrot I dangled in front of them. And they brought energy on the sideline. Now, it was a little busier than I'm used to. But you know what? I'll take it when they bring that kind of juice that they did.
Practice squad
I
players.
mean, that's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive that I'm floored to start with that the Raiders had never allowed their practice squad players on the sideline. That boggles my mind. I mean, I covered the NFL back in the beginning of this century, and practice squad players were on the sideline during games. So I don't know who if that was an Al Davis thing, or you had to, the roster, the active roster is so sacred that only those players are allowed to participate. I'm glad Antonio Pierce has made that move. That's a good move by Antonio Pierce.
Yeah, I like the crowd, especially coming off a team meeting in which you get the coach fired. Well, the coach is fired because of the results. They had a big team meeting. Apparently, players were not happy with McDaniels. So having as many players on that sideline, player-driven, former players, the new interim head coach, I just think it makes sense.
All right, let me give you your question of the day for today, and it is Arizona basketball related. And the Arizona men's basketball team got off to a flying start last night. They won their first game, 122-59, and they're 1-0. They're going to play 31 games during the regular season. Will the Arizona men's basketball team? If we're lucky, they'll play, generally play, 3 games in Vegas to get to the championship and then 6. So if they're lucky, they'll play 40 total if they can go all the way to the finals and play on the last night of the season.
It's shocking. Arizona scored 122 points in their first game.
Yeah.
And I'm not great at math, but that means that Arizona Wildcats are averaging 122 points per game, which puts them second in the country in scoring average because the San Francisco Dons put up 128.
Wow. The Dons, yes. They used to have a local player. Young man was at Saguaro. His name escapes me. I'll have to come up with that later. Played there his entire career in that program. It's a good program up there, the San Francisco Dons. Okay, so 31 regular season games. This is your Wildcats 1290 question of the day. You can head on over right now to our Twitter account at Wildcats1290 and vote in our poll. How many games will the Arizona Wildcats win during the regular season? 31 games is how many they'll play. How many will they win? What is the over-under? And the number is 27. Will they win 27 or more? Will they win 26 or less? So if they win 27, that means they'll go 27-4. If they win 26, then they would go 26-5 or less than that. How many games out of the 31 regular season games will the Arizona Wildcats win? You can call in and give us your answer. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290. You can call us with the answer to that question, 27 or more, 26 or less. You can text us with your answer to that question. You can interact on one of our many streams. We are on Facebook. We are on Twitter. We are on Twitch. We are on YouTube. You can interact with us on any of those platforms as well. How many games will the Arizona Wildcats men's basketball team win this year? 27 or more, 26 or less? J-Dub, what do you think?
Okay, well, I think in a vacuum they win 31, but the schedule, no, because I think this team, I just think, let me finish. This team is stacked, loaded at all positions. However, there's going to be a lot of tough games in the season. So I would say you said 26 or more.
27 or more.
27 or more. Ugh.
26 or less.
I will say that they will win 26 regular season games, 26-5.
Okay. That was well. I just went through the list, and I'll let you go through the list in the break, and maybe amend your result. But I just going through the list, I counted 27-4.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see 28, 29. It just depends on how the ball bounces in some of these big-time matchups.
Absolutely.
You know, Michigan State might not be as strong as we thought they were.
Right.
Duke's going to be really, really good. Purdue is really good.
Gosh darn Michigan State messing up our net on the first night of the season.
Yeah, FAU, right? That's a really good team. So it's Nate Renfro, right?
Yes, Nate Renfro.
Yeah.
Went to Saguaro High School.
There's
Played
also
at
another
San Francisco.
current player for the Dons from Tucson named Jake Cioe is his name. He's from Tucson.
Cioe.
He's a junior from Tucson. He plays for the Dons currently.
Did it say what high school he went to?
I don't
that
see
name
it here.
does
I'm
not
efforting.
sound familiar.
Yeah, I'm efforting. But he says he's from Tucson.
All right, cool. All right, well, right now, 78% are saying 27 or more. 22% saying 26 or less.
Because they have eyes, DK, and they saw the team play last night, and they know who's on this roster, and they know how good they are and can be.
Do want to remind you that today is Election Day here in the United States, the 2023 election. Not a whole lot of great things on the ballot, but we are electing a mayor here in Tucson today. So your polling drop-off place, because this is an entirely vote-by-mail election, but your polling drop-off places are open until 7 o'clock. So you can still drop off your ballot today if you did not mail it in by the deadline, which I believe was November the 1st, which would have been last Wednesday. You can still drop off your ballot today at any of the open polling places. So go over to pima.gov, find a polling place, drop off your ballot. We will elect a mayor tonight. It'll either be the incumbent, Regina Romero, when 3 other candidates are on the ballot, Janet Witten Breaker, a Republican, on the ballot, Ed Ackerley, an independent, on the ballot, and Arthur Kirshen is a Libertarian on the ballot. We had a chance to talk to 3 of those folks on our Tucson in Review show. So if you want to hear those interviews, if you have not decided yet, if you've waited to the last minute, like I used to do on classwork, cramming the last minute, head on over right now to our website, Wildcats Radio 1290. Click on Tucson in Review and hear what those candidates have to say. Also, Proposition 413 on the ballot tonight. Should the mayor and the city council get raises? The mayor of Tucson makes $42,000 a year. When I saw that, I thought that was nuts. Nuts that a mayor of a town, a city as large as Tucson, would only be making $42,000 a year. So, yes on 413, to give the mayor and the council a raise. You would be raising the mayor's salary from $42,000 to $96,000, and the city council from $24,000.
Right.
That's crazy to me. All those people have second jobs. $24,000 to $76,000. So literally, they could just work for you if you vote yes, versus having to. A lot of them are educators, work for the school system, which is not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. But man, if you're a public servant,
so it's not like, can I get some extra ranch? Just give me a second. I'm writing this bill on filling potholes up. That's not how that works.
No,
okay.
Exactly. So when I saw that, my mind was floored that our elected officials here in the city of Tucson do not make a whole lot of money. So it's up to you to decide tonight whether or not they should get raises. There's an escalator in there that a lot of people are concerned about that really bumps it up a little bit more than that. We can talk about all that if you'd like. 520-848-1290. 1290 is the number to get in on the program.
Sal Point
is where this. Oh, wow.
Yep, Jake.
Okay. I don't. That name is not. I'd have to see the name, but I don't. Off the top of my head, it does not.
CIOE. Point guard.
CIOE. Yeah, that does not
shooting guard
sound familiar to me. We'd have to ask Rosenblatt about that. He probably knows the kid. Keith Rosenblatt, our sales guru here. All right, it is DK on the Sports Tip with JW Madden and Cricket. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Some busy traffic at Craycroft and Pima. Also, some heavy travel also at Grant and Alvernon. Earlier police activity reported at Grant and Alvernon. Crashes clearing Aviation Parkway near 22nd Street, La Cañada north of McGee. Oracle and Roger Road, Linda Vista east of Hartman Lane, and crash clearing Midtown Glen east of Country Club. 54 the low, clear overnight, 80 and sunny tomorrow, breezy and 91 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by eBay Motors. eBay Motors is here for the ride with the parts you need for the prices you want. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply.
Hey guys, I have a riddle. I hate it already. I'm wearing a polar bear disguise to provide service with no compromise. You're an Alaska vacation. Wait, I'm not done. It's a vital annual task, even though I'm behind a mask. Alaska vacation. You're an Alaska vacation. Don't spoil it for Ron. Alaska vacation. When I'm done, you won't shed a tear, because your heater will be guaranteed for a whole long year. Who am I? Alaska vacation. How'd you guess?
Gary, everyone knows the Alaska Vacation from Alaskan AC is the finest furnace tune-up in town.
Everybody also knows Alaskan AC guarantees no breakdowns for a year.
And everybody also knows it helps you save money on your utilities.
Wow, how quickly did you figure it out? As soon as you said, I like to dress up in costumes. I never said that. I know what I heard. Ron?
That kind of gave it away.
Bah, what do you guys know? I'm going to go take care of our customers with our world-famous Alaska Vacations.
Schedule now at alaskanac.com.
Don't forget your fluffy tail. Oh, thanks.
Wildcat fans, don't miss your last chance to catch your Arizona football team in action as they take on the Utah Utes Saturday, November 18th. We will be honoring our military personnel on Military Appreciation Day. It's also your last opportunity to watch your Wildcat seniors play in Arizona Stadium. Join us for all the excitement by calling the ticket office today at 520-621-CATS or by visiting ArizonaWildcats.com/FB. Bear down, Tucson.
You want to protect her. You'll give anything to make sure nothing harms her. Every minute together.
From the CNWT.
From the what? Central Northwest Tucson, duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but 3 first names, David Scott Kelly.
2 receivers left. Cowing started in motion. Fafita takes the snap, little pump fake, going for the fade in the end zone to McMillan. Did he catch it? I think he did. No, they say he was out of bounds.
Oh, boy. They got to look at it because he did catch it. Yep. But the question is, where was his feet at?
Yeah. The official said he was out of bounds. We're going to look at the replay here. And he goes up. Catches the ball,
That's
1 foot down. I tell you what, they better look at that.
That is a touchdown. As long as he possessed the ball, that's a touchdown.
Tato McMillan doing T-Mac things. That kid just is, I mean, he's incredible. He's a great route runner. I think that's the thing I like most about Tetro McMillan as a player is he just runs really crisp routes, and obviously he can catch the ball, put it on him, and he's going to catch it. He does not drop a lot.
Some guys you wonder, like, if the fingertips have a bit of Velcro and the ball has
right.
the other side of the Velcro. Because the way he caught that and brought it in, there was no movement whatsoever. I mean, that was just – and, again, I think you give all the credit to that for the catch to T-Mac, but Fafita put it where only he could get it.
Yeah.
A great throw.
Arizona heading to Colorado this Saturday. Folsom Field, one of the most picturesque venues in college football, to take on the Buffaloes, who started this season so great, but have fallen on hard times now. And I guess we'll see. We'll have to go find. I heard that Deion was not real happy in his press conference. I don't know if that was today or yesterday, but we'll have to give you some Coach Prime sound coming up as well. You're going to hear from Noah Fafita a little bit later in today's show. He was at the press conference today. We have the coordinators. And then we get 2 players on Tuesdays. It was him and Traden Stukes. And, man, you couldn't have asked for 2 better representatives of this program. Traden Stukes, just an incredible story. I mean, a walk-on who played. I mean, the first time we ever saw Traden Stukes was the night that the final score ended 70-7. And no one really knew who he was. He just was, like, on the field. I remember going back that night and cutting up the game and watching highlights, and I'm thinking to myself, Traden Stukes, I haven't seen this kid all season long. And obviously there was only 5 games that season, but still I was like, man, I've not seen this kid. And, he looked like he might potentially be a decent player, and he has just turned into a hard-hitting defensive back. And I think there was something, and we'll have to go pull this, there was something, Jed Fish talked about this in his post-game press conference on Saturday night. And I really thought that this was an interesting a comment from the head coach about how he said, hey, look, we're not looking for kids that just want to come here and line up at one position or do one thing. We want kids who understand football, understand all aspects of football, can play a number of positions, can do a number of things. I mean, we've seen that this season with Jonas Savianaya, sliding from tackle to guard, playing both positions. Traden Stukes last year was an outside cornerback. Now they've moved him to an inside slot cornerback, and he has become a dominant force on this field. And he just talked today about, like, hey, so that, because I remember I talked to him in Las Vegas, and we weren't sure what this was going to be. A lot of people even before the season were saying this was kind of a demotion for Traden Stukes because they wanted to go with the 2 6'4" guys on the outside. But you have the.
I got everything. I have both the questions you asked to Mr. Stukes. If you'd like to hear that,
let's hear what Traden Stukes had to say.
Traden, when we talked in Las Vegas, you didn't seem like you were sure what this role was going to be with the move. In terms of the physicality that you brought to this position, did you anticipate that you would be able to impact the game in that way?
Yeah, I've always believed in myself as a tackler. I mean, for me, I've come a long way in the physical aspect of football because, when I was younger, I didn't really like hitting or nothing. I just want to be a cover corner. But, I think Coach Aquina has also brought that mentality that comes with being a complete defensive back, and that there is a physical aspect to the game. And, I've just tried to embrace it with open arms and, try and be a physical defensive back.
Is there one Dwayne Aquina-ism that that's kind of stuck in your head from his teachings?
I mean, there's a lot, but yeah, I think he always says, like, you're not here to play cover corner or field safety, you're here to play DB. So that means, like, learning what everyone else is doing on the field, knowing your assignment, knowing the scheme of the defense, why we're doing what we're doing. And I think, our room has embraced that, and they've tried to, understand those type of things as being a complete DB.
What a concept. What a mindset. You're not a cornerback. You're not a safety. You're a defensive back. Learn how to play all those positions, because you never know which one you might be able to excel at. You never know which one you might be able to best impact this football team.
We just got done last segment talking about how a lot of young players might get frustrated with the process. They might not get their shot right away. I think what you're maybe talking about is people specializing, because we all know at the next level, it doesn't matter what professional sport you go into, it's all about specialization. So if you can do one thing great, you can find a spot. So I think people maybe focus on that one great thing. And when you're trying to build a program from the ashes of a 20-loss streak of losing 20 straight games, everybody has to be on the same page about whatever it takes, DK, whatever it takes to get us where we need to be. And here they are, 3 consecutive top 25 wins. But that attitude of being there for the coaching staff and doing what needs to be done and being as complete a player as possible, I mean, that's the right attitude to have at this level. I mean, and guess what? Those people who are like so focused on specializing, scouts see that too.
Yeah.
So if you're just focused on helping the team and doing whatever it takes, that's a better aspect, better motivation to have it look at the world that way.
Yeah, that's what coaches at the next level want when they're looking at kids that they want to draft. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. Again, I mentioned we had a chance to talk to Noah Fifita, and we'll hear him in full, but I want to play this one part for you, JW. You heard a part that you really liked out of this press conference today, and it was Noah. And here's the thing: when you look at this, and we'll focus on this class of 2022, because that was really the class. That was the one that was number 2
13
in the
starters,
conference, right? That was the one that really set this thing in motion, and all those kids were being recruited and committed when this team was going through a 20-game losing streak. And there were people out there that were telling them, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why would you want to go there to that school?
Yeah.
And Noah talked about that today.
Yeah, this question was about once you saw the 1-14, right? Did you have any kind of second guessing or thinking about it? And here's what Noah Fifita had to say about that.
At the end of the day, Coach Fish believed in me before anybody else did. So the loyalty that he showed me, the loyalty he's continued to show me throughout my recruitment. And then sometimes it changes once you commit and once you sign. That never changed for me. Our relationship never changed. So I committed because of the person he was, not just because of the coach.
I mean, look, I've been around Tucson my whole life, more or less. Lived other places, but to me, the greatest coaches in Wildcat history, DK, are those coaches who the players form a family-style bond with because they care, because caring matters. Right. And the players feel that. And so, that right there says it all to me is that it's really not a matter. How many times does his phone ring? You think when they're looking, hey, that negative recruiting thing that happens. Hey, you're looking at this record over here. You're looking at who the offensive linemen are. You're not going to get all that stuff. But it's not about that. Right. It's just about believing in what Coach Fish's vision was for the program. And this was 2 years ago. So here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, here we are. Getting ready to go to a bowl game, getting ready to play a 13th game just 3 years after going through 20 straight losses. It's been fascinating to watch, and you just hope that it continues on along these lines. And obviously there are going to be, fans out there are now worried because, look, Jed Fish is on the radar now. People know about him. People are watching what's happening here in Tucson. And then there's always the concern about, is somebody else coming for your coach? And here's what I've always said about that. I'd much, and granted, I'd love it if Jed Fish committed here and was the long-term coach. I don't expect that out of any head coach in any sport. But I think it's better for you if your coach has put you in a position where you're in so good a standing that he leaves to go somewhere better than the opposite, that you have to fire him and make him go away like we've had to do here recently.
Personally, I just see it as that Chicken Little mindset where I think a lot of Arizona football fans are just waiting for the next shoe to drop. They've been used to disappointment in the past. And so all of a sudden there's some success. What are they going to do? They're going to think about what's the big negative that could come out of all this success. The coach could leave. I just think it's ridiculous to talk about that right now in the middle of this great success that Arizona's having. Cross that bridge. I mean, obviously, Coach Fish has built this entire program. He and the coaching staff and the players have built this program from that 20-game losing streak. And this is where we are now. Talking about him being lured away by big money to coach some other school or go to pros or whatever, like, why would that be the topic of conversation the first week that Arizona's ranked in the top 25 for the first time in 10 years?
Yeah.
Like, that just doesn't seem like the conversation to have right now. The sky's not falling. It's okay, everybody, to have a little success. Just live in it. Live in the moment.
Live in the moment. Enjoy the sunlight right now because it is shining very bright on this football program headed to Colorado on Saturday. Getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives, making sure we get you to your election place, drop off your ballot if you need to do that. Here she is, Cricket.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Some busy traffic at Craycroft and Pima. Also, some heavy travel also at Grant and Alvernon. Earlier police activity reported at Grant and Alvernon. Crashes clearing Aviation Parkway near 22nd Street, La Cañada north of McGee. Oracle and Roger Road, Linda Vista east of Hartman Lane, and crash clearing Midtown, Glen east of Country Club. 54 the low, clear overnight, 80 and sunny tomorrow, breezy and 91 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by GeneratorFranchise.com. Millions protect their homes from power outages with Generac home standby generators. Would you like to be part of this lucrative industry? Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer, has limited franchise opportunities in your area. Learn more at GeneratorFranchise.com.
Where is your pain? In your knees, hip, your back? Well, don't let it sideline you any longer, and don't let them tell you surgery is your only option. Call QC Kinetics now for the future of pain relief. Hey, it's DK on the Sports Tip. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, restoring and repairing damaged joint tissue the natural way. This is with the science of using properties from your own body to bring you lasting relief with no drug. Let's talk to one of the newest members of the Arizona Wildcats Sports Hall of Fame. He is the longtime volleyball coach here at the U of A, just retired in his first year of retirement, as a matter of fact. Dave Rubio joins us. And Dave, first of all, congratulations on the Hall of Fame. Did you think that would come so quickly?
You know, to be honest with you, I was really shocked when Rocky called me and told me I wasn't going to be inducted. You know, I really don't think of things like that, and certainly never think of it as in terms of applying to me. So, you know, it was really quite a surprise.
When you when you looked at what you wanted to say when you got up there, what were some of the things that you wanted people to know about you know what this honor meant to you and what your time at the University of Arizona meant to your life?
I think, you know, it's really, in my mind, I really don't like having the center of attention on me. I've always been kind of shied away from that, and so it was a little uncomfortable and awkward for me to be kind of everything be surrounded and all the attention that I had. But it was really more of a recognition of the people who helped me along the way, you know, and there are so many, you know, anytime somebody's successful, there's a lot of people that certainly play a part and a role in that. And so it was an opportunity for me to share a few stories and then thank the people who helped me along the way, and that was great. So the speech took a long time to write. I mean, I was like agonizing over it. I'm not a great writer by any stretch, and so I was just lamenting to my wife, man, I'm like, God, this is so painful for me, you know, and so trying to make it concise, you know, and so it was really, but at the end, it was good. I think the product was very good.
Yeah. When you talk about the folks that helped you get to where you're at, and obviously that's you know many assistants that have been with you, all the players that you know that played for you and were able to lift this program up you know to great heights throughout the years. Maybe share one of those stories that kind of meant the most to you.
Well, yeah, there are. I mean, there's so many people out there that, you know, that really helped me along the way. But, you know, Rita who's now, you know, who's preceded me, and she's not preceded me, but who's my successor. And so she's, you know, the one who's been by my side for so many years, you know, as a student athlete here. And then, but a great story about Rita was when I first got introduced to the team, and I got a chance to, you know, finally move to Tucson, and I had my first practice with the players, and it was really a disjointed group. You know, even though they had a tremendous amount of talent, there was a lot of lack of chemistry, and so Rita had a really dominant personality, and she just came up to me after practice and she said, Dave, just so you know, I don't like any of the players on this team. You don't expect me to be friendly to them, and I'll play hard, but, you know, right now I would rather not even speak one word to them. And it was like, that was my introduction to Arizona volleyball, from really the person who had, you know, a tremendous amount of talent and kind of held the keys to the car. And so, like, okay, this is going to be a challenge.
Wow. Yeah. Great way to start your career at the once. So what do you I guess what do you tell then how would you share with a young coach how to manage a situation like that where you walk into a program and the girls don't even like each other?
You know, that was a challenge. There's no question, but I think the biggest, you know, for me, it was, and I didn't know really what I was doing, Dave. I mean, that's the other part of it. You know, I was 32 years old, and, you know, so it's not like I had this, you know, a tremendous amount of knowledge and history of coaching, and I was still young and trying to figure things out. But ultimately, developing a relationship of trust is the most important thing you can do as a head coach. You know, and not just a head coach, but, you know, anytime you're in a coaching profession, regardless of the sport that you're coaching. And so that just takes time. You know, and I think once they develop the trust, then they're going to start to follow some of the things that you're asking them to do. And that's what happened, you know. And what I tried, you know, I kind of did the Pat Riley thing, which is, you know, you're the central figure that people don't like, and then that brings everybody else together. And that's exactly what happened to that early group in 1992, 93, 94. is that they hated losing. And even though they didn't like me that much and didn't like each other, what they hated more than all three of those things was they hated losing more than anything. And so that really kind of was the common denominator for all of them.
Legendary Arizona volleyball coach Dave Rubio, Hall of Famer, joining us in his first year of retirement. But you're not just sitting around. I think you had mentioned at your retirement press conference you took your surfboard and you said you might go to the beach and hang out. But that is certainly not what you are doing. You are right back in the gym. With Athletes Unlimited I guess I looked at the website, they call you a facilitator. Let's first of all explain what that moniker is all about.
Well, it's a brand new, it's not brand new. It's actually the third year the league has been in operation, and it's a professional volleyball league. And right now, or today is our last day of competition. And once this day is finished, this will be the longest lasting professional volleyball league for women ever, and so they relocated from Dallas last year to Phoenix, and so that allowed me to come up and be a part of this organization. And it's really a players run organization. Everything kind of goes through the executive committee, which is comprised of players. They make the decisions and help the organization tailor what the players need. And I can tell you that it's one of the most professionally managed organizations I've ever been a part of. I've been so impressed from top to bottom, from the management side and the player side, and how they conduct their business, how professional the players are. And it's actually been one of the most positive coaching experiences I've ever had. That was really unexpected. And so in terms to answer your question, in terms of facilitator, the players, the executive committee is kind of at the top, and then the team captains, each team has a team captain, and the team captain then drafts their team every single week, so it's a new team every week. And then the players and then the facilitators, and the team captain and the players kind of give suggestions to the facilitators on what they want them to do. And so every single week for me, it's been really fascinating to be with different players and try to meet their needs of what they want. And as time has gone on, now we're finishing up our 6th week here, is that I've really established a good rapport with a lot of the players. And like I was talking about before, I think the trust that you develop with the players, it really helps the relationship. And then they ask me to be more of a coach and actually a facilitator. So it's been a wonderful time for me, a wonderful experience. And I'm really 100% behind the organization because of how they conduct things here. I love the scoring system. I think college should take a hard look at the way that they're doing the scoring system. And there's just a lot of really positive things for volleyball and for the women who are part of it.
So then during games, are you actually like calling plays, or do they call their own plays and you just kind of give input? Is that kind of how this works?
It's really a collaborative type of situation here. So with the team captain and actually with some other players, like this week, Brooke Nunneveller, who is from Phoenix, who had a great All-American career at Oregon, is the team captain of the team that I'm helping and facilitating with. And she and I have a lot of conversation. And then Sydney Hilley, who played at Wisconsin, was a terrific setter there. Kind of all three of us powwow, and we talk about the lineup. We talk about kind of where we want to start, and we talk about a little bit of strategy. So it's way more collaborative with us. I don't know how it is with the other facilitators. I'm assuming it's the same way. So, but it's been great because they're not 18 to 22-year-old women. I mean, we're used to, as college coaches, micromanaging every part of their life. But here, it's nothing like that. I mean, that's been one of the really nice things about being here for me. It's like they show up, they're ready to practice. They're taking care of their business, and they handle their business off the court. When they're ready to play, believe me, they're ready to play because there's a lot at stake. I mean, they're pros, they're getting paid, and there's a bonus system that taxes the point scoring, and so everyone's really motivated to do their best.
Dave Rubio, Hall of Fame Arizona volleyball coach, is joining us now with Athletes Unlimited as a facilitator. And Dave, we had a chance a couple weeks ago to talk to Sofia Maldonado Diaz about what her future is going to be, whether or not she's going to come back to college next year, whether she's going to turn pro, and if she turns pro, what that looks like. And she mentioned Athletes Unlimited as being a potential professional spot for her. So where does Athletes Unlimited align with the other professional opportunities that are out there for college volleyball players that are coming out of school?
So this particular year, like a lot of the women's sports, we're starting there's a brand new league that's starting in January called the PVL Professional Volleyball League. And a lot of the players that are here and participating in Athletes Unlimited have chosen to stay here and participate in this league because they're now going to, in the next phase, they're going to compete in the PVL. And so a lot of players that normally would have gone overseas and played maybe in Europe or other countries have chosen to stay and play in the Athletes Unlimited, and it's because of the PVL. And so the PVL is a 6-month or 5-month league for them, starts in January, ends in May. And so there's another league that's going to start in 2025 called the League One Volleyball, and that starts another volleyball league. And so it's been a great growth for the volleyball profession and on the women's side. And there's going to be a lot of opportunity for someone like Sofia Maldonado to participate in. And I anticipate, next year that a lot of the players who are currently playing overseas will choose to stay and try to be a part of the Athletes Unlimited and then play in the PVL. And so I think the future is extremely bright for women's volleyball as we head into the future.
Now, will these leagues cross over, Dave? Will players be able to play in multiple leagues? Will they need to play, like, say, Athletes Unlimited and PVL? Can they play in both? Do they need to play in both? How will that work in terms for the athletes?
I think that the timing for the Athletes Unlimited and the PVL work perfectly. We start in September and ends in the first week in November, and then the PVL, it starts in January and then finishes in May. So they can do both, and I don't think there's contractual issues with that. I don't know for certain. When League One Volleyball starts in 2025, I don't know how that's going to work with Athletes Unlimited in the PVL. I don't know if they're going to be competing leagues. I'm not sure how that's going to work. That's still unclear to me.
Will we might we see you coaching in one or more of these leagues?
Well, it's been. I think one of the real benefits for me personally is just being exposed to this level. This is the highest level of volleyball I've ever been a part of. And that's one of the things that's made it so much fun for me. I mean, it's extraordinary the level of volleyball that's played every single night here. I mean, it's highlight reel type of stuff. The kind of things that you see on Sports Center. It's just amazing athleticism that's being displayed on a regular basis here. And it just really has blown me away. I've been around it for a long time, so I've seen a lot of great volleyball and competed and had coached a lot of great teams and players. And here, it's been kind of mind-blowing for me, to be honest. And so, if the opportunity arises, I would love to be a part of the profession. I think that's another chapter for me that hopefully unfolds at some point in the future. Whether it's in Phoenix or another city, the PVL right now has 7 teams that are going to be competing from January to May. And I think there's 2 or 3 teams in other cities that are already committed to that, and so I'm hoping that someday maybe Phoenix opens a team and I'd be considered as maybe a possible candidate to coach that team.
That's awesome. It's great to hear about these exciting opportunities that are happening for volleyball players here in the United States. Dave, continued success with all that you're doing in retirement and this second career for yourself. Always great to talk to you, and congratulations again on your Hall of Fame induction.
I appreciate it, Dave. It's always good talking to you, and have a great afternoon.
All right, that is Dave Rubio, legendary volleyball coach here at the University of Arizona. and a member of the Arizona Sports Hall of Fame now, class of 2023, that was inducted on Friday night up at La Paloma, and now involved in Athletes Unlimited, which is it's kind of a new professional circuit that has taken hold for women's professional sports here in the United States. We've seen a number of our softball players that have played in the Athletes Unlimited softball, but I don't know that we've had any of our volleyball players yet. But as I mentioned in that interview, Sofia Maldonado Diaz is considering that as one of her possible professional destinations. And I want you to hear from Sofia. We'll hear from her later in the show today about what her future is. She's got the opportunity to come back next year if she so chooses. Will she come back? Will she decide to go and play professionally? Is still a decision that she is mulling for what her future will be. Okay, coming up, Dave Hickey. We'll go from one Dave to another Dave. Dave Rubio to Dave Hickey, the athletics director of the Arizona
Dave too, right?
Wildcats. I'm David.
Well, okay.
David.
Technicality.
Yes, exactly. Dave Hickey will join us, and we'll get a recap on this past homecoming weekend and more. It's DK on the Sports Tip. I'm David Kelly, along with JW Madden and Cricket. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. With a new collision reported near Marana High School, reported on Emmy Road to the west of San Dario, Cove Road north of Golf Links, Houghton and I-10 motorcycle involved, La Cañada north of McGee and also Linda Vista near Hartman Lane east of, collision reported northbound I-19 near the I-10 I-19 junction. Clear skies and 54 low, 80 and sunny tomorrow, breezy and 89 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by ChumbaCasino.com. Introducing Chumba Casino, the thrilling online social casino that's free to play. Head on over to ChumbaCasino.com now to join in on the fun. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Did you know the Chevy Silverado was rated the #1 full-size pickup in Arizona? Did you know O'Reilly Chevrolet has the largest selection of trucks in the valley? Now you do.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Wildcat fans, don't miss your last chance to catch your Arizona football team in action as they take on the Utah Utes Saturday, November 18th. We will be honoring our military personnel on Military Appreciation Day.
Disguised to provide service with no compromise.
You're an Alaskification.
Wait, I'm not done. It's a vital annual task, even though I'm behind a mask.
Alaskification. You're an Alaskification.
Don't spoil it for Ron.
Alaskification.
When I'm done, you won't shed a tear, because your heater will be guaranteed for a whole long year. Who am I?
Alaskification.
How'd you guess?
Gary, everyone knows the Alaskification from Alaskan AC is the...
All right, from one Dave, we go to another Dave. Dave Rubio, Hall of Famer, to the athletics director of the Arizona Wildcats, Dave Hickey. Maybe at some point, Dave Hickey will be a Hall of Famer as well, but that'll be determined years down the road. Hello, Dave. How are you today?
Hey, good to be with you, David. Thanks. Yeah. Boy, I don't know. I'm just glad to be in a room with lots of Hall of Famers like we were able to do this weekend. So, and Coach Rubio is definitely one of those.
Yeah, when you look at Coach Rubio, I know just talking to him here a few minutes ago, he was absolutely floored that would have happened to him so quickly. And I know we talked about the process and picking these candidates. What were some of the things, I guess, were said about Coach Rubio when the committee was going through that process?
Well, I have to say I'm not on the committee. I'm not part of our committee. Rocky LaRose, longtime administrator here, and was a student athlete and a coach, and really one of the best, and has remained very active in our program since her retiring from full time from athletics. Leads our Hall of Fame selection committee. So we have a number of people who they're nominated, they're brought forward, and then we compile the group compiles all of their statistics, their awards, the honors, both while they're on campus and some of the things that happened later in their career too, that are taken into consideration. But all of that gets put in there. It really boils down to being the very best at their craft, whether they were a student athlete or a coach, administrator, that really was impactful to the program here and to the university, to the athletics program, to a sport. And those are, we've had so many dynamite athletes, rock star student athletes and coaches. And but there's no doubt, that's why we love Coach Rubio. And Dave's a very humble, serving individual. He cares deeply about the players, and he's in it for the right reasons, and that's to make it better for the student athletes that are here. And I think that rises to the top very quickly. And on top of that, highly successful in the sport of volleyball.
I mean, a great list of accomplished people that were inducted. Justine Schluntz was on that list. Preston Gilmet, beloved promise, who was known as Brigida Barrett when she was a high jumper here. John Perrin, we talked about him last week. Steven Sambu and Kirsten Smith from the basketball team. And then, of course, there was Gronk, and boy, did he raise the energy this past weekend.
Well, he did. It's neat to have Gronk back on campus and to have him so really engaged over these last several years in the program, as he's obviously moved away from professional football. But boy, he loves to come back to campus. He brings a great energy level with him. But when he walked up on that stage and reflected back onto his career and his time on campus, there were some jokes and there was some fun with it. But, he really talked about how meaningful it was in his life to come here, not only play football, but to, the experiences he had, the friends he made, the faculty members and people around him that made it work for him. I mean, he was very, very appreciative of the experience, and he wants to continue to give back.
Dave Hickey joining us, athletics director for the University of Arizona. Dave, you have a ranked football team, I believe. When did you get here? Is this the first time in your tenure that you've had a ranked football team? Or you weren't here in 2017, were you? When did you get
I was here in
18?
17.
Okay,
I don't know if we might have been ranked during the year.
Okay.
Ended up going to the bowl game at 6-6 with Purdue. But I had arrived that year.
Okay. Outstanding. So, how is this? I guess in the days since these rankings came out, is there an immediate effect on the building in terms of that, and just the overall good feeling that comes with having a ranked football program?
Well, hey, you get measured. I think certainly in sports, it's all about rankings. It's all about what you've done. Not really yesterday, but today, and you hold on to that kind of success or that recognition as long as you can, because basically you only have 1 week and you got to prove yourself again. So, I mean, yes, it's definitely recognition, and I look at it as great recognition for our coaches and for our players that have put so much into this, that have completely turned our program around, done it the right way. We've really now focused on building a great football program. Not really trying to do a stopgap or bring someone in or people in that have kind of a plan that we think will work here, but really stripping it down, as you've heard me say before, and building it back up. So, I think these are steps towards a really solid, competitive sustainable football program. You want to be ranked. You want to be at least in the conversation. You want to be very competitive, and with that usually comes attention, recognition, and rankings.
Yeah, and with that also comes the frenzy of this fan base worrying about who's going to come and take your coach away from you. You're surprised about that people immediately go to, oh, my gosh, now how do we keep Fish and not let somebody else come steal him from us?
Well, I think that's a natural reaction in fandom. Look, Coach Fish and I think I'm on record with a lot of our coaches, the way we've continued to bring in really high-quality coaches, invest in them at a real high level. Also, to retain the great coaches we had, continue to invest in them and recommit to them year after year with both years in their contract and compensation, which are important. But, part of this, too, is we want to build the program that you can be successful. You can pay coaches a lot of money, but if you don't have the fundamental structure and investment in the program so they can meet their goals of being a championship program, wanting to be at the highest level, all those things, winning conference championships, going to big-time bowl games, that's part of this, too. So you just can't decide you're going to, put a dump truck out there and dump it right in front of the coach and hope that they'll stay. Now, let's be very frank, there's an economic piece to this, too. The economic model has to work. And I hope that all of those fans that are clamoring and want to make sure that we retain coaches are fully invested. And that means buying season tickets, donating to the Wildcat Club, doing the things that you need to do. There are fans that sit at home and watch it on TV, but they're not really invested. So this is all in all the time. We've all got to kind of do our part. And I don't mean that to be critical, but I mean that's the reality. And for Arizona to continue to aspire to move forward, we've got to find resources in a lot of different ways. When you put in coaches' compensation, you put in facilities, and you put in operational expenses, and you start to talk about NIL, the economic model here at all these places across the country is really challenging. So, that's a long rambling answer, but look, we're committed to Jed. We've got the right guy to build this program. We want to make it right for Coach Fish, and we'll continue to do that. We renegotiated his contract last year, so he's in the first year of a 5-year deal that included more compensation, more investment in his assistant coaches, more commitment to facilities. All of those are part of the commitment we've made to him, and we'll continue to do those things.
And obviously, with the move to the Pac-12, the Big 12 coming up, how quickly will the infusion of those dollars from that new the TV contract that's going to be happening in that conference, how quickly will that help Arizona? Will that be immediate? Will that be a year away, 2 years away? How quickly will that help Arizona?
Well, first, I think we need to get through this really unfortunate situation that we're in from a Pac-12 level. We're a full member, a fully participating member of the Pac-12 conference this year. It's unfortunate that we find ourselves pitted against each other, or at least two of us pitted against the rest. I think it's really, really unfortunate. But we hope we can get to a landing spot there to understand the finances of this final year. So that will play into it. It will also. It's important to remember. We really moved over, and we're going to receive about the same amount of from the media package as we traditionally have received from the Pac-12. So there is some refinement that'll need to be done. So we hope that as we grow with the Big 12. And some of the pieces that are being put in place for future media deals, potentially separate media deals for football and basketball, new specialty events will drive more revenue back to the schools, and so that distribution would grow. But it's not a windfall, David. Next year it's not. We'll kind of build our budget very traditionally, like we have this year and in the previous couple of years that have really strained our overall financial model. And so, we've got to be really careful with how we do this.
Yeah. But it was great. I was out last Friday night out at the at Mulcahy Stadium, man. What a great night out there to see a record crowd, to watch Arizona soccer. And then those ladies took that energy and got it done on the pitch to beat the rivals from up north.
Well, they sure did. They did just a great job. Kudos to our fans for coming out. Terrific atmosphere. I was sorry that I missed it. We were following it at the Hall of Fame ceremonies. It was getting kind of updates from the podium. So that was pretty fun. People were really interested in it. I'm so happy for our players and for Becca. The season probably wasn't exactly what we wanted. We lost some really difficult games, close matches that could have gone different ways. But again, I think we're moving in a good direction, and that was a terrific way to fin with 2 wins, and then to beat our rivals from up north. I don't always say that much, but to beat ASU, that's great. And they kind of did that to us last year up there when we were in a good position, and obviously they were ahead of us in the standings, and we were able to knock them off this year.
Yeah, and obviously we got some football games to play, but everybody's kind of looking forward to the Territorial Cup later this month. Anything department-wise, I guess that's planned? I mean, is there anything people should know about? Heading up to Tempe here in a few weeks in terms of that game.
Nothing out of the usual. I think we'll head up there. It falls on over the Thanksgiving holiday weekend as it always does, and we'll be in Palm Springs for Thanksgiving Day watching basketball. Then we'll all come over and into Tempe and watch the football game. A great rivalry, one of the best in college football, and it'll be a spirited game out there. I'm sure, no matter what the records are, it always is. So that'll be a good one. But that's kind of down the road for us, so it takes me a little bit by surprise. We got to get focused on Saturday. Saturday is our next one, and it's a big one. Go to Colorado that has so much attention. Really had a great start. They've kind of really built a lot of life into their program. It'll be a full house. We're playing well. We have now some people who are telling us that we're good. So now you got to, kind of go home at night and not just listen to what everybody tells you how good you are. You got to go out and continue to play well. That's always a challenge sometimes in sport. Can't allow your mind to wander. You got to keep fighting through it, and we hope we can get to that 7th win. It'll be a great afternoon, day game in Boulder, and looking forward to it. I think again I'm going to be in Duke watching basketball Friday night, and then we're flying directly over from Raleigh first thing in the morning. It's an early flight out, and then we'll arrive in Boulder right before the game.
Now you got Brian Jeffries on the Learjet to make sure he gets to both games.
I think Brian and I were talking about that about a week or two ago, and I don't know how we've landed on that. Somehow we're doing it. We're all getting back there, and we're going to be at both of them. And hopefully we have 2 big old signature wins that we come home with.
Busy weekend. Dave, before we let you go, a final message out to Wildcat Nation for this week.
One cool thing that's happening this week, a lot of great things happening, but I don't want to forget our triathlon team, women's triathlon team, will compete in the national championships this weekend up in the Phoenix area. So big moment for them in their first year of competition to qualify for nationals, and have a chance to finish reasonably high in the standings. So excited for that program, really happy for them.
All right, Dave, have a safe traveling weekend with all those spots you're going to hit. Let's get some wins. We'll talk to you next week.
Love it. Thanks a lot. Bear down. Go Cats.
All right. Dave Hickey, he is the athletics director at the University of Arizona. Coming up in the next hour, we're going to talk more Arizona Wildcats football. It's Wildcat Breakdown with Glenn Howe. We will dissect everything. Offense, defense, special teams. Was Kyle Ostendorf bored this Saturday night? We'll talk all that in the next hour. It's DK on the Sports Tip. Along with J-Dub and Cricket, I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio, 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Westbound I-10 near Keno Parkway, collision off on the right-hand side of the road and not blocking travel. Do expect some slowing on the westbound side of I-10 as you approach Keno Parkway. 22nd and Craycroft clearing. Linda Vista east of Hartman Lane and also La Cañada north of McGee. Slowing westbound Ajo at Mission, southbound La Cholla at Ajo Way. Also some busy traffic for travel on westbound Ina at Thornydale. Weather-wise, clear skies, 54 overnight, 80 and sunny tomorrow. Now, 88 and breezy. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples holiday deals mean amazing savings for the holiday season. Right now, save 50% on custom holiday cards and invitations, as well as custom photo gifts like mugs and calendars. Offer ends 12/16. Visit staples.com/print for more details. Have yourself a merry little holiday deal at Staples.
Secret programs that most credit card companies won't tell you about. They'll help you consolidate or settle your debts for a fraction of what you owe. With DebtBlue's Success Guarantee, you pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved. There's no risk. The more you owe, the more DebtBlue can save you. See how easy it is to get started with free information. Let DebtBlue show you how 10 minutes could save you thousands. Call now. 800-200-6895. That's 800-200-6895.
I'm just living sky high right now. I'm very thankful for it. And
They drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but 3 first names. David Scott Kelly.
Final hour of the program. DK on the sports tip. 520-848-1290 if you want to chatter with us about Arizona football, Arizona men's basketball, Arizona women's basketball. Congratulations to the Pima men's soccer team. The fellas up on West Anklam Road selected as an at-large to the NJCAA Division II National Tournament, which is going to be held for a second straight year right here in Southern Arizona out at the Keno Sports Complex. So the guys are staying home, and they are going to be the 5th overall seed in that tournament, despite the fact they did not win their region. They get the at-large bid. Unfortunately, the ladies did not get an at-large bid to the women's tournament, which is also here in Tucson, so their season comes to an end. But the men will continue to play. We'll have a number of interviews on that coming up this week. We'll talk to head coach Dave Cosgrove on Thursday, and I believe we will talk to one of the players on the men's team as well tomorrow and get you set for the match here in the tournament coming up here this weekend. So it actually starts on Monday. Teams will begin arriving here in Tucson this weekend. Another economic boom here to Southern Arizona, that we can hold events like this and bring in colleges from all over the country. DeAndre Pickett is the freshman from Tucson High that will join us on the show tomorrow.
It's that time of year.
Yeah.
Nice weather here, not so much everywhere else.
It's funny, man. It is like the kids last year, if you went to some of the matches, they were like, if they weren't playing, they were just kind of hanging out, sitting in the bleachers with getting tans and all kinds of stuff, man. It was like, especially, I mean, again, these are teams that are coming from all over the United States where it's a little bit cooler now. And yeah, they were really enjoying the temperatures. It was great weather for that event last year, and it'll be once again this year. As you heard Cricket say earlier, 91 degrees today. Wow.
Crazy.
On November the 7th. It continues to stay warm here in Tucson. So congratulations to Dave Cosgrove and his crew trying to win another national championship. They've gotten 2 over the last 7 years or so, and they'll try again. Suns will play tonight. They're back in action, the Phoenix Suns, but it does not sound like, J-Dub, that we're going to see Bradley Beal tonight either.
Yeah, I think while I was coming into work this morning, I saw a news report that he was upgraded to questionable for tomorrow. So I don't think there's yet to be an official announcement, but that just kind of means that he's getting a little closer to making his first appearance in a Suns uniform.
Suns are 3-4 on this early season, and they are currently in third place in the Pacific Division. Golden State leads the Pacific Division at 6-2. The Clippers are in second place at 3-3. Then the Suns and the Lakers at 3-4. Sacramento right now on a 3-game losing streak, the surprise team of last year that made the postseason, but Sacramento struggling a little bit out of the gate at 2-4.
Both the 2 surprise teams from the West last year are struggling because obviously John Morant being suspended has a lot to do with it. But the Grizzlies, they are starting last year they started out, I think, 22-4, something ridiculous like that. They had a really, really, really fast start. But Sacramento, I think they'll turn it back around. They got so much talent on that team. And, Sabonis is the best rebounder potentially in the NBA. And you just look at the guard play they've got. I don't have a problem. I'm not worried about that Sacramento Kings team at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, in Tucson, or at least in Southern Arizona, a lot of communities around the nation, you have the 40 under 40, like the 40 top individuals in something under 40. Well, the NBA annually puts out their top 25 under 25.
Yeah.
Because again, it's we were talking about this earlier. It is a young league. In some instances, you've got some pretty dynamic players that are under the age of 25. J-Dub, who are the top guys this year?
Well, the same as the last 4 years is the top guy. For a record 4th consecutive year, Luka Doncic is the top-rated player under the age of 25. And obviously, you remember how he came in so hot right off the start, hitting shots from the corner and winning games all over the place. He will not be on this list next year because he is 24 years and 252 days. And this is the last time that Luka will be atop the list. Some of the other players that have joined, maybe some names that some fans out there might be not know about necessarily, but Alperen Sengun, for instance, from the Rockets, really unique young player. He's only 21 years old. Keegan Murray, everybody remembers him with the Kings last year. Obviously, had a really, really polished game coming in. Scoot Henderson is just drafted. He's ranked 23rd. Tyler Hero, big talk of the Dame Lillard summer saga, whether or not he would be moved. Jalen Duran of the Pistons, nice young player, really good athlete. Walker Kessler of the Jazz, he was on the all-rookie team last year. Jalen Green, really athletic young player, needs to kind of put it all together, but he's got the potential to be great. Josh Giddey, you ever seen Josh Giddey play basketball from Australia?
Have not.
He might be, DK, the most unorthodox basketball player I've ever seen. He's basically a 6'9" shooting guard, maybe even a point guard, if you will. But he's really herky-jerky with his movements. Not necessarily, he's very, like I said, unorthodox style, but super, super effective. Really good young player. The two Williams guys, Jalen Williams, both of them from Oklahoma City Thunder. Franz Wagner from the Magic. He had a really good summer this last year. Scotty Barnes, Rookie of the Year 2 years ago. Kind of had a little bit of a fall off last year, but super, super ridiculously talented. One of those positionless guys playing more or less. He can play point guard. He's like 6'9", 6'10". Paolo Banchero, number 1 overall pick last year for the Magic. Playing on a really bad team last year, but he and Hans Wagner play on the same team. Here comes the interesting part. Chet Holmgren. DK, I don't know if you saw that move last night, but he got a defensive rebound, brought the ball up on 4 dribbles, faked left, and behind the back pass wrapped around for a layup on the fast break. He's 7'4". So Wemby's going to get all the talk, but Chet Holmgren, with his 1 year at Gonzaga, obviously sat out last season with the injury. He is a very intriguing young player. When he and Steph played for the first time the other night, they exchanged jerseys because Holmgren famously crossed over Steph Curry when he went to his basketball camp back when he was in high school. Evan Mobley, we're all familiar with his game with your Cavs. Tyrese Maxey really come on with the Sixers since Harden was traded, moved especially. Jaren Jackson Jr., he was the Defensive Player of the Year last year. That's no big surprise. He's 24 years and 53 days. Again, he's on the older side of this. LaMelo Ball comes in at number 9, off-injured player, but again, he's about a triple-double machine. Darius Garland, you know him well, very quick, good shooter when he's hot. Now here comes the real fun ones. Zion Williamson, David Kelly. I mean, the what-if
He's
nature.
still playing?
He's playing this year. He's only played, I think, in 120 games in 4 years, something like that. So he might be the most dominating. He reminds me so much of Chuck, right? I mean, he's got that unworldly style of burst to his bounce. I mean, he just gets up like you don't expect a guy of that size. Super, obviously, everybody knows YouTube superstar Zion Williamson's athleticism. Cade Cunningham, another really, really good Magic Johnson style big type player with the ball, not obviously in that exact same line, but as far as his physicality is concerned, can do it all. Ja Morant, number 5, hasn't played. I think he's suspended for 50 games this year. That's the top 5. Tyrese Halliburton comes in as number 4. He is only 23 years. Number 3, debut.
So let me stop you at Tyrese because we saw him. We talked about that. He slid on the court the other night. He came out okay from that?
Yeah, I think 2 nights ago he had 48 points, so I think he's going to be okay.
I think he's fine.
Yeah, I think he's going to be okay. Yeah, I love Tyrese Halliburton. I could talk all show about him. I just think he's really a Chris Paul clone, but he's 4 inches taller. He's
Well, the Pacers are off to a 4-3 start.
Yeah, and I mean his assist to turnover ratio career is just insane. Chris Paul, by the way, has something like 63 assists and 1 turnover in his last 5 games. So he's still Chris Paul, too. Victor Wembanyama debuts at number 3 on this list, DK. And I don't think that's anybody's watched any highlights or any actual games. His length and athleticism for that size is confounding the NBA right now. People just don't know how to get shots off around him, especially on the defensive end. Number 2, Anthony Edwards, after this last summer with the Olympic team, leading scorer. He's only 22 years old, DK. And I mean, it's hard to make those Jordan comparisons, but if there's ever been a guy who had that similar style, he willed the team to an overtime win last night against the Boston Celtics, the maybe favored team. Denver is the de facto favorite because they lost Bruce Brown, but brought back everybody else, but the Celtics might as well be 1A, right? They're highly favored this year with Porzingis coming over and looking really good so far. But yeah, Anthony Edwards ranked at number 2, and Luka Doncic for the 4th consecutive year, the number 1 player ranked under the age of 25. And If you haven't watched Luka Doncic, shame on you, because that guy, I love guys like that who, again, he's maybe 240. He's a really big dude, uses physicality a lot, but he's not quick of foot. And yet nobody can stop him from doing what he wants to do. And I just love that style of skill. His skill is so far off the charts that he's been in the league now for 5 years. Nobody knows how to stop Luka Doncic. You got to blitz him. There's really nothing to do.
Well, your U of A game of the night, if you're interested in the NBA, is the Utah Jazz and the Indiana Pacers. We mentioned the Pacers are off to a 4-3 start. The Jazz are just 2-6. That is in Indiana tonight. Lauri Markkanen scoring at a 24-point-per-game clip and grabbing 9 rebounds. So he's off to a good start on the Wildcat alum side for the Utah Jazz. And then you mentioned Tyrese Halliburton, 24 points and 12 assists.
12 assists
this
and
season.
3 turnovers a game. So that's a 4-to-1 ratio.
Yeah, that's like you mentioned. That's not bad at all for that young man.
Mr. Benedict Matherin's scoring's fallen off a little bit, but it's because they're incorporating a little more playmaking into his game. He really has to round out. We all saw him for his time here, a natural scorer. Benedict Mathurin will always be a natural scorer. He's already had 3 5-assist games this year. I think he only had 1 last year. So
he's the sixth in scoring on that roster right now at 11 points a game.
Yeah, he's struggling with his shot right now.
He is he's fifth in assists at three assists per ball game so far this season. So
I'm not worried about him at all.
And the big game, I guess, tonight is the traditional matchup between the Celtics and the Sixers, because the Sixers have rid themselves of the cancer that was James Harden, and they're 5-1. So they're feeling good about themselves.
The other side of that matchup, I believe James Harden is scheduled to go tonight. The Clippers tonight are playing the Nets. So there's a little history there. I think James Harden has bad blood with every single NBA team,
exactly.
or he will before he retires.
Except the Cavs. I don't think he has any bad blood against the Cavs. Or with
Just
them.
wait a couple days.
That's good. All right, so that's your top 25. Under 25 in the NBA. You got any thoughts on that? You got any qualms?
I'm so
with those
excited
names?
about
is there anything that you thought, is there anybody missing from that list?
Well, I'll say this. There are so many good young players in the NBA. It was hard for us NBA fans to go through the early 2000s era where everybody was jumping from high school and there just wasn't fundamentals and the games were really ugly, but it's turned around. I know I talk about AAU a lot with Kelvin. They've really done a great job in the last 10 years about focusing. You look at Jason Tatum when he came in, and guys like that. Paolo Banchero, super polished for how old he is. So many guys come in these days with the full package of fundamentals, and that's really what it's all about. Used to be back in the day, you're just trying to dunk over 6 guys, get on the highlight reel, and then be able to tell your family about it. That was the goal. But now the goal is really to be a complete player, and you're seeing that with guys coming in at 19, 20, 21 years old with just making such huge impacts on the league that I think the league's never been in better hands than it is right now with its group of young players. And then you look at the veterans, obviously, who are still around. That Clipper team has about 10 of them. But, yeah, I don't really have any problems with that list. There's probably 50 guys. You know, there's a lot of really, really good young talent. I'm really excited about the direction the NBA is going in. It's, it's hard because the NBA season is so long, and you just think to yourself, ho-hum, it's another 3-pointer by Steph Curry, it's whatever. But if you have any affiliation like I do with Arizona Wildcat alumni, that's how I've always had my into a lot of programs. So watching the Pacers with TJ and Ben Mathurin and watching the Mavericks back in the day with JT and just all of the different alumni always allowed me to move around. I didn't focus on just the Cavs. Does that make sense? So I've definitely watched a lot of NBA, and I'll tell you personally, I think it's a better product than it's been maybe since the 80s, 90s. I just think it's a really, really good league right now.
I think I may know my my question of the day for tomorrow.
All right.
But I'm not going to leak that just
Is
yet.
it who are the 50 greatest basketball players over 50?
That's an interesting one. We'll add that to the list because I'm always looking for a good question of the day. All right, let's take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll talk some football with Glenn Howe. Wildcat Breakdown. We'll dissect all that is Arizona football. But first, let's get you home every 20 minutes. On the 5s with your traffic is Cricket.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. With collisions Ahaway west of Park Avenue with some westbound slowing. Golf Links and Kolb Road, Midvale Park and Valencia. That might be two separate collisions in that area. Expect westbound slowing. 22nd Street and Craycroft also clearing. Backups on southbound La Cholla at Ahaway. 54 are low and clear overnight, 80 and sunny tomorrow, and 88 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by Mucinex Fast Max Kickstart.
Hey kids, breakfast.
Wow, making pancakes. Seems like you're feeling much better. It was the Mucinex Fast Max Kickstart Cold and Flu, right?
Yep, good thing I took it the other morning.
New Mucinex Kickstart. All in one and done relief. Use as directed.
The very best in play-by-play is on Tucson's best sports station, Wildcats Radio 1290. This is the home of the Wildcats and NFL play-by-play. This is the one and only Wildcats Radio 1290.
Now I don't want to make...
Kershaw, the speed side, just getting them just be able to be strong and being able to accelerate. That's the key thing is accelerate after the catch. And then also the training staff, Kevin and those guys have done a great job of just keeping those guys healthy.
Glenn Howe's our guest, Wildcat Breakdown. He's our Arizona Insider, brought to you by Coors Light. Coors Light is an official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics. Coors Light, there's nothing like game day at Arizona. All right, Glenn, let's flip it over to the defensive side of the ball. And you talked about how, Jed Fish and Jordan Pow and Brennan Carroll have done a great job of scheming up the receivers and the pass catchers, and we also have to throw some kudos to Johnny Nansen, man, and some of the things that he's doing. I want to point out a play in the third quarter, and this just kind of goes to what the Wildcats have been doing in the red zone when they get their backs up against the wall and things get tough, man. We've so much seen them blitz Jacob Manu up the middle, but there was that play when he got the sack where this time they brought him off the edge. And that was one of the first times I'd seen them bring Jacob, at least this year, off the edge in that respect. And you got to really love the way that kind of Johnny Nansen is finding different positions to put him in order to get him to the quarterback. I think they saw that they had the numbers on that side, and I think the running back was on the left side of the quarterback, and Jacob just had a wide open path to get to Ethan Garbers.
Yeah, I think that Johnny Nansen is, he was his first year being a defensive coordinator, and he's got a great mentor in, Ricky Hunley. You got Chuck Cecil, and then you got Dwayne Aquina. Man, you got one of the best defensive minds in the country helping you out, and they're putting it all together and coming up with these schemes that some of these teams are not figuring out. I mean, let's just put it that way. They're just not figuring it out. And our guys are executing. That's what the thing is that you're seeing guys in lanes. They're not getting out of their lanes. Guys are trying to escape, and they can't escape because we got guys coming in and doing their job. And that's what a great defense does. If you do your job, you look like there's 11 hats on you.
I want to correct something we had said in the pregame on Saturday. We had said that Tyler Upshaw had 7.5 sacks coming in. He actually had 6.5 sacks coming into that game. He got number 7.5 in that ball game as he continues to be a guy that is tough off the edge, man. He really he kind of beat Bruno, our guy Bruno Fina, on that one sack that he was able to get.
Yeah, he did, and he's playing with one hand.
Yeah.
He's got
How hard
got
is
a glove
that?
on there. Yeah, that is tough. And that one was. I looked at his hand and I was like, that thing is small too. It's not even big where you can really get some damage on some guy, but it's really small. And he's playing with one hand, and that is tough when you can't use your fingers, man. When you want to pull a guy, and so he's really getting after it, man. You got to give kudos to that guy. A guy that doesn't, you don't get to use your fingers on one hand, and you're still getting to the quarterback. You got to give him credit for that.
Glenn, why don't you think? Obviously Justin Flo came in here with a lot of fanfare. One of the the most highly recruited linebacker out of the West coming out of his class. It just hasn't necessarily translated for him as a big-time playmaker. We've seen flashes at times. It just hasn't really been consistent for Justin Flo. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think that he's doing his job, man. I think he's trying to stay within the defense and let the plays come to him. And I think that's good. It's good that he's doing. I think if he's doing his job, might be some other people. This defense is designed, if you do your job, we'll tackle the ball carrier, we'll get to the ball, but it's not always one guy's going to make a big play. So I think if he continues to do his job and do his assignment, I think he's going to be okay. And I'm all right with that. We don't need to be the big numbers. We just got to be able to be strong as a defense and getting those 3 and outs and preventing those guys from getting into that end zone.
All right, let's get a break in here. We are joined by Glenn Howe, Wildcat Breakdown. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit about the special teams evaluation in the UCLA game. We'll hand out some game balls for this week as well. Getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives, though, with your traffic and your weather. Here's Cricket.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together. Reported collisions, Ina and Thornydale. Thornydale and Ina with some westbound slowing. Valencia in Midvale Park. That might be 2 separate collisions at Valencia and Midvale. Kolb and Golf Links, also Ajo Way to the west of Park Avenue. Westbound backups there. Also slowdowns westbound Ajo at Mission. Southbound La Cholla at Ajo. Westbound Grant, westbound Speedway at I-10 also slowing. 54 and clear overnight, 80 and sunny tomorrow, and now 86. And I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
This report is sponsored by GeneratorFranchise.com. Millions protect their homes from power outages with Generac home standby generators. Would you like to be part of this lucrative industry? Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer, has limited franchise opportunities in your area. Learn more at GeneratorFranchise.com.
Wildcats Radio 1290 has been through all the ups that Wildcats fans experience.
Here comes the posse, and they sack him. Navy shirts everywhere.
They are swarming tonight.
And the downs.
Ball is loose. Bulldogs pick it up. The 4th Arizona turnover of the night.
1290 is always there by your side to bring you all the raw emotion of the moments that matter to Wildcats fans. We are Wildcats Radio 1290.
Are you ready? Ready to discover your soul, your wild side, your passion, your joy, and excitement? From world-class entertainment to award-winning dining to a luxurious resort. Discover all this and more. Discover with Soul at Casino del Sol, the soul of Tucson.
The official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics. Enterprise of the Pascua Yaqui Tribe.
Hey guys, I have a riddle.
I hate it already.
I'm wearing a polar bear disguise to provide service with no compromise.
You're an Alaska vacation.
Wait, I'm not done. It's a vital annual...
Wildcats Radio 1290.
Wildcat breakdown. Arizona beats UCLA 27-10. Heading to Colorado this week to take on Coach Prime and the Buffaloes. Joined as always by Glenn Howe, U of A football class of 1985. And Glenn, as we wrap up our evaluation of this win over UCLA, let's talk a little bit about the special teams in this ball game. We had a punt that got blocked. That wasn't necessarily a good thing. Tanner McLaughlin missed a block there. The three protectors all whiffed on one guy. We don't necessarily see that, but that was a breakdown on a number of fronts there that could have been a dicey situation for Arizona.
Absolutely. Sometimes when you get in those situations, you expect when you have three guys there, and you're like, oh, I got him. He's got him. You got to just do your job and make sure you take the right steps. It didn't look like they took the right steps and letting that guy through. You got to be secure with your steps. Special teams include special steps. Special teams, you do special things there. So it's not a normal thing that you do when you're trying to block somebody. So they have different techniques, and it looks like it was a technique breakdown there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure we knew we had length with Ephesians Prysock at 6'4". I'm not sure we thought that length would translate to special teams, man. But he could be a serious a problem coming off that edge for teams trying to kick field goals on the Wildcats.
Absolutely. The guy is just getting better and better every week, man. His hands are getting bigger and bigger, okay? But now they got to grasp some balls, We got to make sure that he grasps and he does that. And he on the edge, man, I mean, that's a technique that you really have to really be good at. And, one of the guys that we had on last week was Alan Durden, who was excellent in doing that, blocking kicks coming off the edge. It's a technique that you have to, really work on. And I think he's got the frame and everything to be a really great special teams player also.
Tyler Loop kicked 2 more field goals, knocked 6 kicks into the end zone with no returns. He just continues to kick at an all Pac-12 level. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out at the end of the season. And as we've continued to mention, he's just a few kicks now away from putting himself in a class that no one has ever been in college football. And I still believe there's going to be maybe 1 to 2 big kicks he's going to have to make down the stretch. So good to see him continue to kind of do what he's doing there in the kicking game. Kyle Ostendorf only had the 1 punt in this ball game and put it in the end zone. So I guess they accomplished their job in keeping Kyle Ostendorf bored. He only had to kick the ball 1 time in this contest. All right, Glenn, let's hand out some game balls. I went to corporate to see if I could get a bigger budget for you. So let's hear what you got this week.
Well, I got from the offensive side, I got to give it to Noah, man. I mean, I haven't given it to him. I don't think I've ever given it to him. But, doing those, the way he's been playing, he's got to get, he's finally has earned a ball for me. I think he, was part of that offenses that got the ball. But I think my game ball for him, on the offensive side is him. And then on the other side, I got to give it to Jacob Manu, man. He's just playing so well, man. The guy is just continuing to just assignments too. I mean, just the way he's in the right place at the right time and making the tackles when he needs to, and then making the tackles when somebody's on him. He made a tackle in that game where he had a big old lineman on him, and he still made a hard hit on the running back and took the guy down. So he gets that one. And then on the special teams, I'm going to give it to Tyler. He's just been kicking the ball well, and man, he may have an opportunity to kick a 60-yarder up in Boulder.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of thin air up there.
That would be the that would be the place to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he could get that thin air. So we're outside the 40. We can still kick a field goal, so we're in field goal range. So hopefully it won't be that close. We don't need that, but he's just been solid all season, and he just seems to be a good kid too, man. Nice kid. I talked to him a little bit on the sideline, say hello to him, and he's just a focused kid. And I'm really proud of him of how he's just been coming through.
All right. Well, I'm gonna give out 5 today because I'm gonna do like
5.
Yeah, exactly.
You're talking about me with 3. You're going with 5.
I'm gonna give out 5 because I'm gonna do like the team, and I'm gonna give one to Jed Fish for putting this team back into a bowl game. It's been an incredible build for this program over the last 3 years, and Jed Fish has brought in some incredible people to put around him to get it done. So I'll give Jed Fish a game ball for taking the Wildcats back to a bowl game. On offense, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going with Noah Fafita, who continues to just be solid in everything he does. 78% completion percentage. 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns in this ball game. Had the 1 interception, but again, his defense bailed him out there. I'm also going to give an offensive game ball to Jordan Morgan. I thought he played one of his best games of the season in keeping things clean on his side. I need to see I need to see some improvement from Josh Baker in the middle of this offensive line. There's times that he's gotten beat up the middle, and I'd like to see that get shored up with this offensive line as we move forward in these next 3 games. On defense, I'm gonna go with who did I have on defense? On defense, Russell Davis, the second, Deuce Davis. I thought he had a big sack. He also got to the quarter.
Second choice. Go ahead.
He also got to the quarterback a few times in that ball game. Just continues to be a talented young pass rusher, Deuce Davis. And then on special teams, I'm going to go with Iffy Prysock for that big block field goal that kept important points off the board early in that ball game, and so I thought that was huge. But another, I forgot to mention this early as well. Kudos though out also to Tanner McLaughlin for the tackle on that interception, because if he doesn't make that tackle, you're in an early 7-0 hole, and that could have changed the complexion of the ball game as well. So shout out to Tanner McLaughlin for his tackle on the interception I just mentioned by Noah Fafita.
Yeah, I agree with you on Deuce Davis. He was just relentless. That kid, and he's like 220, I think. He's not that. He don't weigh that much, and that guy is just relentless. He's like, you know what he is? He's like a gnat. He's one of those guys. When I played tackle, that I was like, I'm gonna take care of this guy, and oh man, this guy just keeps coming. He's relentless, and that's where he's going to get his rewards. If he just continues to be playing like that, that guy's going to be one of those guys that's going to get at least 7-8 sacks a year when he starts getting some more time and he just gets on a little bit more weight.
All right, Glenn, we got a classic trap game in Boulder this week.
Absolutely, I think that we got to stay laser focused on what we do best, and that's run the ball. Run the ball against these guys. These guys have had some problem stopping the run. Let's run the ball. Don't give it to Sanders at all. So you have that ball and just possession. Do some long drives. You don't need to do a lot of passing on this game, and just run the ball and just impose our will against these guys. And then on defense, just be able to get some 3 and outs and let's control this game. Let's go play like we have been playing the last 3 games. We cannot take a step down. This is going to be a great challenge for our coaches to make sure that we are continuing to climb the ladder. We have to continue to climb the ladder, and that's the coaches getting these guys prepared to do that.
All right, Glenn, we'll see you bright and early Saturday morning out at Casino del Sol at Sol Sports.
What time are we at?
7:30, man. Breakfast with the Wildcats.
Oh, that's light. That's late. That's late for me. So, all right. We'll see you then. Bear down, baby. And we are going bowling.
Thanks to Coors Light for bringing you today's Arizona Insiders on Wildcats Radio 1290. Coors Light, official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics. Chill on, Wildcats.
All right, the college football playoff rankings have been announced. Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan, Florida State are your top four. The Arizona Wildcats come in at number 21. So they are 2 spots higher in the college football playoff rankings than they are in the AP poll, where they came in at number 23, and in the coaches poll, where they came in at number 24. So we will have much more on the Wildcats coming up for you tomorrow. We did not get to Sofia Maldonado Diaz, so we will also hear from her tomorrow just on what her future it will entail within this Wildcats volleyball program. I want to tell you before we get out of here a little bit about QC Kinetics. Where's your pain? Is it in your knees, hips, your back? Don't let it sideline you any longer, and don't let them tell you surgery is your only option. Call QC Kinetics now for the future of pain relief. I'm David Kelly. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, restoring and repairing damaged joint tissue the natural way. This is the science of using properties from your own body to bring you lasting relief with no drugs and no downtime. QC Kinetics is trusted by patients all over America, over 150 clinics nationwide with advanced protocols that can get you moving once again. Get started now so you can live big in 2024. Talk about a great use of your FSA or your HSA. Put them to work getting you the relief you need so badly. These new advanced regenerative treatments are getting amazing results for people with arthritic pain or pain from an injury. Again, no drugs, no downtime, no surgery. So call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. Let their medical professionals give you a better path toward that pain-free life. There are 2 locations here in Southern Arizona, one off of Academy, the other off of Orange Grove. Call QC Kinetics now. Let me give you that number, 520-497-4955. That's 520-497-4955. It's QC Kinetics, 520-497-4955. That's going to wrap up our program for today. Thanks to Cricket. Thanks to J-Dub. Most of all, thanks to you for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm David Kelly. It's DK on the Sports Tip, and you're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together. New collision at Ajo and I-10. I-10 and Ajo Way. Also in the clearing, Thornydale and Ina. Ina and Thornydale, Golf Links and Kolb. Ajo Way west of Park Avenue. Also Valencia and Midvale Park. Southbound backups on La Cholla at Ajo. Westbound Ajo at Mission for more slowing. 54 and clear overnight, 80 and sunny tomorrow, and 85 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
This report